Welcome to It's Pittsfield Tonight, Season 1, Episode 5. Can't believe it's Episode 5 already, but we've got a great show for you tonight. Our special guests are Steve Kotski, Jack Chevalier, and Dan Beattie from the Pittsfield National Little League, and musical guest Matt Boulais. I've known Matty for a couple decades, very talented local musicians, so it's going to be a really good show. And on the way here tonight, I stopped at one of our gas stations to fuel up, and I'm sitting there pumping gas, and I look up at the top of the pump, and there's a sign there that says, the more you spend, the more you save. And I thought, this is where all our elected officials must fuel up. But, potholes too. That's a big issue we're hearing in Pittsfield all the time. And, when marijuana was legalized a few years back, one of the things we heard a lot from City Hall was pot for potholes. And what a lot of you misunderstood was, I don't think that was to fix the potholes. They were just saying if you smoke enough weed, you won't be so upset when you smash your car into one of the giant potholes. But, the weather with temps with record highs and then down to extreme lows, it's been crazy. And that's one of the reasons the roads are so bad. In fact, it was so cold out a couple weeks ago, I saw 5 of our elected officials with their hands in their own pockets. So when you see that, it's bad out. But, I had something else I wanted to say, but I forgot, which is surprising because when I was 5, my father took me to the Big E and I saw an elephant, and now I have the memory of an elephant. But, our second grade teacher, Ms. Gifford, she was great at Stern School. And, I went through the Pittsfield public school systems and for all up through high school. But Miss Gifford was one of my favorite teachers, and she had this thing she would do every day where there'd be a different letter for that day. And one day she said, today's letter is B, and Michael, why don't you come up to the front of the class and you go first. Tell us something that you would like to when you grow up, you'd like to be really good at that starts with the letter B. So I got up in front of the class and I said, spelling. But, speaking of school, I hated taking tests. I really did. And I used to tell that to my father all the time. So one year I did surprisingly well during finals. And I went up to the teacher afterwards, after I got my grade, and I said, will you do me a favor and call my father and let him know? I'd rather him hear it from you than me. So she called up and she said, Mr. Daly, she said who she was, and I forget the teacher's name, but she said, Mr. Daly, I'm calling you because I have news about Michael's final exam that he took today. And my father said, okay, well, how did he do? And she said, he passed. And he said, well, he always said it would kill him. But anyway, we're going to jump right into the comments section. I picked out a few, not a lot this week. What do we got here? FB writes, what is this show about? Well, I guess you just have to watch and find out. SL writes, why don't you start covering the local weather? Well, that's because I'm not a meteorologist, but I'll think about it. Maybe I could do a fundraiser and you guys could send me to meteorologist school. Is that what they do? Let's see here. AG writes, what's your favorite part of the show? Well, to be honest with you, I love talking to the residents. That by far is my favorite part of the show. I think the whole cool thing with this is highlighting all our local Pittsfield business owners, citizens, residents, people involved in all our organizations. And that's really what this is about. So I'm glad that you guys watch, and I hope you keep watching. So again, we got a great show for you tonight. Steve Kotski, Jack Chevalier, and Dan Beattie from the Pittsfield National Little League, and musical guest Matt Boulais. So we're going to hear a brief word from one of our local sponsors, and then we'll jump right into it. All right, welcome back, everybody. Tonight's guests, well, there's 3 of them, as you can see. So tonight's guest is starting in the back here. He is the president of Pittsfield National Little League. He also runs AAA Little League and Fall Ball. He's born and raised in Pittsfield, and the proud father of 7 and a proud husband, Steve Kotski. Sitting right to my side here, he has a massively long career in baseball. He started coaching and then was involved when he was 15. He's been coaching Little League for, he couldn't remember how long, a couple decades. He's been involved in coaching ball for 50 plus years. Jack Chevalier. And to Jack's side over there, we have Dan Beattie. Dan Beattie. He started coaching minor league at 17. He's been the Little League coach for the past 36 years. And he's also a lifelong Pittsfield resident. So thank you guys for taking the time to do this. It's great to have you. And we'll start with you, Jack. So tell us, you're getting ready obviously for this season coming up.
Right.
What's the big things that you guys have going on right now to get started, to preparing for the season?
Mostly getting the word out for the kids to try out.
Okay.
If you can get them to try out, everything we go from there, really.
And how many kids do you usually work with?
Tryouts, you mean?
Yeah.
How many kids try out? Roughly like 50, I would
About
say.
50 to 60.
50
Yeah.
to 60,
Okay.
yeah.
50 to 60.
And do you see a lot of the same kids for multiple seasons?
On the teams, usually the kids sign back up again, year after year. The tryout kids, sometimes it could take a younger athlete, at the age of 9 or 10, a couple of years to make the major league division, which is roughly 9 to 10-year-old kids. But a lot of them coming in don't have quite the experience, and they need to work with a coach to develop the skills that are necessary to get to that level.
Now, you also coach the AAA Little League, so a lot of them, is that where they start then before they get?
Yeah, some will start right off at T-ball, and some will start right off at the AAA division. The T-ball, they hit off the tees. They get up to the AAA division. What they'll do is we'll have the kids pitching. They may pitch they can pitch up to 4 balls. If it becomes more than that, they don't walk. And what we do is we have the coach take over. If they had 2 strikes, there would still be 2 strikes on the batter, and the coach would pitch on, in hopes that all the kids would hit the ball. We're there to provide confidence to the kids. We want to see them get off the field, and feel like they've accomplished something.
Awesome. So when they get involved, it's usually it's years though, as working their way up through the league.
Right.
Have you ever had any kids that go on to college ball or?
Well, it's interesting to say that. I was just very fortunate for the first time. The thrill that I had is one of my former players, by name Matt Boulais, who just signed a letter of intent this past winter to go to Penn. And he texted me and said, "Coach, I'm signing my letter. I'd love to have you there." So I got to be there and watch him do it. So that was quite.
Wow, that's awesome.
That was quite a thrill.
And is that somebody you worked with for a few years?
He was on my Little League team as a 9-year-old through 12.
Wow, very cool. So have all you guys played when you were younger, starting out, or is that how you got into this as players?
Played Little League.
Yeah.
And what made you decide that coaching was the route?
Just realized we didn't have the talent to go any other way. We wanted to stay involved. That's how we had to stay involved. We weren't going anywhere.
I mean, you obviously have to have a love for the game to.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And Steve, I know we've known each other since we grew up together, so I know you were a big hockey player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always heavily involved in sports.
Yeah, and a lot of times, you need those volunteers to keep these programs going. And that's one of the drives there. You want to keep the kids off the streets. You want to keep the kids involved. And basically what we help them kind of, give them some instruction as to how to accomplish things throughout life, and you're hoping they carry that on,
Yep.
And hopefully it'll make them a better person, decision making, confidence. It's not just about the game. There's more involved in it also.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Teamwork, working together, the whole deal.
Yeah, the whole thing.
And knowing that there's a place for you, like some people are better at certain things than others, and
That's
how to work
correct.
together and bring out the best.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what I got out of sports when
Yeah.
I was young. So how did the pandemic affect you guys doing this? Was that a weird time?
It was. I mean, it took away a lot of the season. We only played 10 games that year, and there there wasn't any. There was only a county all-star tournament. There was nothing. We couldn't advance outside of that. So it was a pretty. It was pretty. There was no interleague play that year. It was a different time.
Have you seen numbers fluctuate as far as kids because of that, or does it remain the same? Or
at the time it did, because a lot of people didn't know exactly what COVID, everything about COVID, and parents were scared. It's your child, or the guardian of the child. You don't know if they get sick, what exactly could happen,
Yeah.
There was that, the unforeseen, We went out and we bought buckets. I think they were from the Home Depot, and then we put them the 6 feet apart for the kids to sit on. They weren't allowed to go in the dugout at that point with COVID. There was rules, they would have to wear a mask on base, which is difficult. They're running the bases with a mask on, and they're not allowed to sit as close to their teammate. They're not allowed to do the high fives, and then, once all those rules disappeared, you could start to see the camaraderie of the game and everything. And
did you see numbers get back to normal as far as participants?
Yes. In baseball in Pittsfield, and it's very big, and now with all the kids that are signing college, I mean, we have numerous kids signing college. It's not just one, it's been quite a few lately, and a lot of it I attribute to the coaches when the kids are younger. It's up to us to make the kids enjoy the game, to want to come back, because if they don't want to come back and play, they're obviously not going to play. Maybe it's baseball in an adult league, college, or wherever.
Right.
So
what are some of the biggest challenges you guys face? As far as the fields and playing and organizing this, is it
The parents.
parents?
Well, it is.
You have, nationally, we've heard a lot of things about parents actually fighting and yelling. And is that stuff you guys have actually dealt with, or?
Yeah.
Really?
It's an excitable game, and the parents are just as much involved as the kids too, because don't forget, they're the ones that are driving them to the games. They're the ones that are bringing them to their friend's house. It might be bringing them to the parks, bringing them to tournaments, paying at academies, whether it be Rip City, the infield, wherever it could be. There's a lot invested. Some of the nice baseball bats are $375 now. Gloves are, well past $100 for a glove. There's
So now are all you guys volunteers?
Yeah. But
Yes.
and that's the biggest challenge, because it's not just the coaching part of it. That's fun. You know what? We have fun coaching.
Oh, yeah.
We need people to run a concession stand. We need people to come and do the work on the field. There's a lot of behind the scenes dirty work that goes on that we need volunteers to do, that nobody even realized. That it's just not the fundraising. Usually we have a team parent who, when we sell those cash calendars, that'll be something I won't have to worry about. I'll have a team parent that'll go to all the parents, collect all the money, collect it up. There's a lot of stuff that gets done behind the scenes by volunteers that people don't realize.
Is it usually parents,
really
or
important.
is it?
Yeah, a lot.
Most of the time it is, but it could be anybody.
It could be the managers. Usually we'll form a group for transparency.
So you guys give all your time for this? You volunteer all your time for this?
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But for a strong majority of the parents are all great people. A strong majority. Most of the parents involved in Little League are real good people.
Okay. Well, we're going to cut to a break real quick, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're continuing our conversation with Steve, Jack, and Dan, and about Little League here in Pittsfield. So, are all you guys coaches, and do you all
Yes.
coach like different teams, or?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. How many teams are there total?
6
Okay.
In the National League.
in
Six
the
in our
National
league,
League,
six in
6 in the other one.
Okay. And And what's your team that you coach?
I coach the police.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's 12 kids, 12 players to a team.
Nice. So is it sponsored by the?
It is. Yeah, we have 6 sponsors in our league. Yeah, and we'll have a fire department, police, Elks, Hot Dog Ranch, and Parkside.
Nice. So when your team shows up, everyone goes, "The cops are here."
Yeah.
And so all of you are like the head coach of your teams. So have you gone head to head with each other? And
Oh yeah.
is that fun?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who's the big dog here out of you 3?
Dan. He won last year and he's defending champ and got a shot at this year too.
Police is going to change that for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Dan, what's your team?
Fire department.
Oh, so the police against the fire department.
Yeah.
It's a
And
fire department.
what about you, Jack? What's your team?
I have the Elks.
Okay. How's your track record?
We're okay.
Nice.
The Elks have had a nice career.
And you guys obviously all get along really well.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
This has got to be. I'm sure it's a lot of work, but it seems like it's a lot of fun.
Oh, it is fun. It is fun. And it's about the kids at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's not about the adults. I mean, that's the reality of it.
So for people who want to, because obviously this can be very expensive to run these, I imagine. You know, as far as equipment and sponsors and uniforms, I mean, everything that goes into it. How can people who want to help out or donate time or something like that, how can they do that?
They can reach out to me. My number is 464-5370. Or they can go right onto our Facebook page, which is Pittsfield Little League, Pittsfield National League. And they can reach out in the messenger on that also.
Okay.
I did forget to mention Civitan is a sponsor of a team also.
Okay. And right now, I know I saw a post you had where you're looking for sponsors to put banners up, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we a 4x8 banner. It would be $100. They would provide the 4x8. There's an option also where we could get the banner for them if they reach out on the Facebook page, which is the Pittsfield Little League, Pittsfield National Little League, or inbox me. I can point them in the right direction on how to do it. But it's $100 for the year. It'll stay right up there through spring, summer, fall. I think this year we're going to be hosting one of the All-Star tournaments at our league, at our place also. So it's a great bang for the buck. You know,
Okay.
It's a tax write-off. It's a way to give back to the community, and it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's $100. I mean,
Right,
and that doesn't go
Yeah,
far.
and-
That gets you a
and-
couple dozen eggs
and-
now.
Right.
And, you know,
Good point.
and you know, I have to give a shout out. You know, like you talk about people that wanted, you know, the sideline saloon. Tim Carroll, he
Yes.
donates $1,000 to the Pittsfield Nationals and $1,000 to the Pittsfield Americans every year. He did it last year. He's going to do it again this year. So
He's a good, very good guy.
Fantastic.
I've done a show with him, and he's very passionate about sports. And,
Yeah, TC's good people.
yes, absolutely. So, who's predicting out of you 3 to take the win this year?
Well, I'm predicting my team to take the win.
You feel pretty strong about it going into it?
I feel pretty confident. You know, I want the kids to, you know, I'm going to let them think, you know, and you know, I believe in them. I think we might have a chance this year.
Now, when do you guys actually start the season as far as practice and all that?
probably the first week in April.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's
Weather
coming up
permitting,
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tryouts are going to be April 1st and 2nd. They'll be indoors at Rip City if the weather doesn't allow us to be outside. The teams
Now,
are-
do they donate the space for you
They
to do
do.
that?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. Then the teams will be picked April 3rd. We're shooting for. That'll take place hopefully at the Boys Club at the Lighthouse if we can use that facility. And then the AAA will be picked 2 weeks later.
Do you organize all this as far as the locations?
I help. Yes, I help.
That's gotta be
and
a lot.
we're all on the Pittsfield Little League board also.
Okay.
So I mean, it takes that also, you know, to get all this going.
So I imagine you got to get the fields prepared and all
We
that.
do,
So
yeah.
for people who want to volunteer for that, and I'm sure you encourage that and could use the help, how does that work and how can they do that?
They can reach out by contacting me, you know, and then what I'm going to do is we have a fantastic person, Bill Carlo, that helps us with the field, you know, and what I would do is put them in touch with Bill also so that he can schedule it and and go that route with it.
Would they just show up, or would they need to bring equipment, or do you have?
No, we have the equipment.
Okay.
We do have the equipment.
So it's just the manpower or
It's
people
the
power that you need.
absolutely. Yeah, because we have to take care of the Springside National, or the Springside, the park there. We have to take care of the one at Clap. Then we're gonna have to practice one at Clap that we'll have to maintain somewhat, and then there's cleaning up of the leaves. We have constant graffiti that goes on there. It's
I've been down
glitter,
to Springside
graffiti.
quite a bit, and yeah, it's sad sometimes the amount of needles and
Right,
litter
right.
and. Is that something you guys have been dealing with?
It's something we're dealing with now. I was just down Clap Park last week, and there are some needles on the ground over by the concession. I'm going to have to deal with that. And it's a sad part of what happens in today's society. But we have to pick it up. We can't let it discourage us. The kids need to play at the park. It's about them.
Okay, and I totally encourage people, and I hope I've got a really good loyal audience here, and I hope many of them reach out to you and offer their time, or as far as kids with equipment, do you guys do drives for that? It's got to be expensive for some of these kids to be able to have the gloves and stuff, or do you provide that to the team?
If we have kids that don't have them, we make sure they get them.
And is that through donations and people helping out, or do you guys? I'm sure you guys probably come out of pocket sometimes
A
yourselves.
lot of that too.
Yeah.
Jack's been known to buy a glove or two in his day.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I encourage my audience to definitely reach out to Steve, reach out to them through the Facebook page, and I think stuff like this is so important, and it's so important to help put kids on the right track and get them into things that they know the community is behind them,
Right.
into positive things. Well, before we cut to the next break, we're just going to cut to the next break, and we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Howard Siegel. I'm the owner of H&S Security and Protective Services, a division of H&S Investigations Group. We're a locally owned, bonded, and insured security company in Berkshire County. We can provide armed and unarmed security officers for your protection or your business. Having a special event, we supply security officers to keep your event safe. We also provide secure transportation to and from any location required. We are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We also provide surveillance services. Keep your loved ones, customers, and property safe. Call us today at 413-822-9036.
All right, welcome back, everyone. My next guest is born and raised in Pittsfield. He spent 14 years as a Lennoxdale volunteer firefighter. For the past 25 years, he's been in multiple bands throughout Berkshire County, primarily as a drummer. He actually came into one of the bands that I was in at one time. I think one or two drummers after me, something like that, but I've known him for years and years. He currently plays for a band called Confinement 413. Please welcome to the show, Matt Boulais.
Found a way to kill me, yeah. I was burned with stinging sweat. Seems every path leads me to no way home. I think it's time so we ain't gonna die. No, we ain't gonna die. Walking tall machine gun man, they spit on me in my homeland. Gloria sent me pictures of my boy. Got my pills against mosquito death. My buddy's breathing his dying breath. Oh God, please, won't you help me to get through this? Yeah, I'm the kind of sniper rooster. Yeah. Now we ain't gonna die. Now we ain't gonna die. Gonna die.
All right, everybody, I want to thank my guests tonight, Steve Kotski, Jack Chevalier. I knew that eventually I was going to stumble on that, and Dan Beattie, and of course, Matt Boulais. Matt, you've got some gigs coming up?
I do. I got our band Confinement has our gig coming up March 4th. It's at the Crossroads Cafe. Hope to see all you guys there. You guys are going to see some new music coming to Pittsfield. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Awesome. So that's Confinement 413 at the Crossroads. And
That's
what's
right.
the date again?
That is March 4th. Also, you can find us on Facebook and you can find us on Bandcamp if you want to check out our music before the show.
Awesome. And don't forget to go to the Little League. What's the...
Pittsfield Little League, Pittsfield Nat League. That can be found on Facebook, or they can contact me at 464-5370.
Perfect, because I know you guys are great out there, and it's an important thing. If you could donate your time and some funds, it would be a huge help for these guys this year. So thank everyone again for tonight's show, and I'll catch you all next week.